Hi, my name is Huge. I'm a business mentor and an angel investor, and this week I'd like to talk about racial slurs. Over the weekend, I was subjected to racial slurs by 3 men behaving badly at a Christmas party. What a cliche. Now, the interesting thing is all 3 gentlemen work for the same company. In this day and age where everyone's cell phone is a high-def camera, video, and audio recorder, your actions outside of the office can and often will follow you back to your office. So if this has happened to you, what do you do? I would like to share the 5 common excuses that people use to excuse bad behavior like racial slurs, why they don't work, and then I'd like to share 3 business principles that do. So stay tuned.
So this is Christmas, and what have you done?
So as you can see, it's December, but it might as well be February because I kept my tree up until February this year. I am crazy about Christmas. It's hands down my favorite holiday. I do start listening to Christmas music in July. It just makes me happy all year round, and I don't stop celebrating till about February. So my favorite movie happens to be a Christmas classic. It's It's a Wonderful Life, which is the story of George Bailey. I've modeled most of my adult life on that movie. It's about a guy who is just a good guy. He loves his family, loves his kids, and he does everything in his power to make the world a better place, even at the cost of personal sacrifice. I've got the entire movie memorized word for word in all the old-timey accents that it has in the 1940s. My second favorite movie is Elf, so I'm going to be incorporating, I think, some of those things in this video, even though it's a very serious topic, racial slurs and discrimination. I just love Christmas, so I'm just going to make it a little bit fun. Over the weekend, I was really happy to be invited to an ugly Christmas sweater party. I was invited by someone near and dear to my heart, Katie of the Model Squad, her AKA Ninja Girl. Katie has become a partner in crime to me. I often do a lot of red carpet events. I've got a lot of clients that are famous fashion designers, and the models that I take with me get to wear really nice dresses, sometimes $10,000, $20,000 dresses. Katie has been recently at the Rady Children's Hospital charity fashion show. Also, she went with me to the Aston Martin preview of Spectre, and she got to wear a really nice Dolce & Gabbana dress designed by Camille Wood. And so, yeah, Katie's amazing. She's awesome. And she throws amazing parties. So I was excited about this party. And I was having fun when I got there until this incident. There was a group of people playing beer pong. And one of the guys, one of the 3, he was a blonde guy with an effeminate voice. It's just like the guy on Office, Ryan. Kind of that guy who thinks he's all that, but for no reason really whatsoever. Anyhow, he started saying chauvinistic comments. I was starting to get my blood boiling, and I just had to calm myself down. Just huge, don't get angry. But he kept on with it. His friend joined with him, and then they started attacking the entire room, but only the women. The taller, bearded guy started bullying a woman that was doing nothing, just sitting on the side of the game. And so when it started getting ugly like that, I stepped in, and my point was to draw all the attention away from the women and attack me. Talk to a guy in the room, right? So I stood up and I said, "Stop your whiny, thumb-sucking, and play the game." And they got upset. The bearded guy said, "What'd you say to me?" And I think trying to intimidate me, not knowing I never stand back down from a fight. I'm kind of like Marty McFly that way, where I don't stand down, but whoever comes up against me usually ends up with eating manure. Yeah, but anyhow, so I stood up to him and I said, more loudly and clearly, "Stop your whiny, thumb-sucking, and play the game." So then the 2 started focusing on me instead of the women, which I was happy about. And they said, "Oh, you with your ugly Christmas sweater." And I laughed and I said, "This is a ugly Christmas sweater party." I said, "You with your ugly sweater that has nothing to do with Christmas." And at that point they looked down at their sweater and they're like, and they were embarrassed because literally they had just gone to a thrift shop and just bought ugly sweaters. I think I really embarrassed them. Later on, they actually threw their sweaters into the fire, causing this cloud of polyester smoke choking everybody. Great job, guys. So after I embarrassed them like that and they had no comeback, that's when the racial slurs happen. I think that happens a lot. When people feel butthurt, they have no comeback, sometimes they'll revert to just a racial slur as kind of like the only thing that they have, you know? And so later on I was also in the kitchen and a guy who was bald or shaved just started insulting me as well. He's a guy who has had some racial slurs in the past. I tried to forgive him because I thought he was my friend. But he was accusing me of chauvinism, which is funny because the three gentlemen had left work to go down to TJ and go to, I think it's called Tokyo Strip Club or something like that. And he was wearing the hat. So it was like, here's a guy with a strip club hat. I've never chosen to go to a strip club ever in my life. I hate strip clubs. And he's calling me a chauvinist. That was funny. But yeah, he had also done some racial slurs. So I was just a little upset by that. Now there's three things I cannot stand. I cannot stand racists, I cannot stand chauvinists, and I cannot stand bullies. Somehow these three gentlemen in the space of about 5 minutes had done all three. So I couldn't stand for it. Now sometimes people do stupid things that they're embarrassed about. Now the worst thing is to add insult to injury and excuse bad behavior. Here are 5 excuses that I've heard my whole life from people behaving badly and why they don't work. I'm going to use the word elf, and in place of elf, I want you to put your own ethnicity in place of elf. So when you hear elf, put Asian, but instead maybe put something derogatory like gook or chink or something like that. If you're white, use honky or use cracker. Really don't understand why those are insults. Anyhow, if you are Mexican, use the W word. If black, use the N word. So here we go, and I'm going to introduce each one with a Christmas carol or a Christmas song that I love. Okay? So here we go. Bad excuse number 5. I'm not racist. I employ elves. I do hear from time to time that just because I employ a different ethnicity, I give jobs to this ethnicity, that proves I'm not racist. I think there's a lot of historical precedents on one ethnicity hiring another ethnicity. Oh, like maybe, I don't know, pre-Civil War America, where 5% of plantation were white, 95% were black slaves. That one really doesn't hold water. In fact, that's moved on to gender discrimination in today's day and age. Earlier this year, there was one of the biggest sex-biased discrimination cases in Silicon Valley, and that was the Ellen Pao saga. Ellen Pao, she also happened to be Asian, a female interim CEO of Reddit. And she was passed time and time again for promotion, and passed for a promotion for CEO for Kleiner Perkins Caulfield and Byers, which is a prominent Silicon Valley firm. This is the biggest one in history, and what I love is that Chris Sacca, one of my heroes, I'd love to be this guy minus the shirts. It looks like he borrowed shirts from Woody from Toy Story, these cowboy shirts, but he's a billionaire, so he can do that. Maybe I'll start wearing cowboy shirts when I'm a billionaire. Now, those of you who don't know Chris Sacca is one of the most epic angel investors, venture capitalists, and private equity advisors, period. He has 11 unicorns in investing, and a unicorn is a company that is that rare, super rare company, but he's invested in Twitter, he's invested in Facebook, Instagram, Uber, and Airbnb. So this guy's track record's amazing. But he actually stood up for her, and it needed to be a guy like Chris Sacca from Silicon Valley to say this. He tweeted this. He said, "Verdict aside, we have a deep gender discrimination problem in tech. Thanks to Ellen for reminding us, Let's not let the conversation end here. Gender discrimination or racial discrimination is huge. So not hiring people above you or for higher offices, it actually can prove discrimination in cases. So, bad excuse number 4. I can't be racist, I work for enough. In this country, it's almost a national pastime to make fun of your boss. And it's a bonding experience for employees. You know, C.S. Lewis said that oftentimes people who have nothing else in common will bond over a common threat or enemy. He was talking about headmasters for British prep school boys. Oftentimes when we make fun of our bosses, what do? We make fun of policies maybe, but oftentimes we make fun of how they talk, how they look, things like that. Now, if your boss is a different ethnicity, that can get sticky. You know, there are a lot of professions where you're almost guaranteed to have someone who is not your same ethnicity. You know, here in San Diego, we're a biotech, medical, biosciences and pharmaceuticals, strong, company. Private companies, huge companies are here. And if I'm friends with a lot of the directors of these companies, I'm friends with the head of neuroscience, and a lot of them are honestly Korean, Chinese, or Indian. If you've got a boss that is a different ethnicity, that should make you more sensitive, not less, and you should absolutely watch your words. Bad excuse number 3. But I can't be racist. I'm related to an elf. Now this is a hilarious one. It's a kind of a proximity or exposure excuse, like as if I can't be racist because I have been around this race my whole life. That's like saying, of course I'm Christian because I grew up in a church. Of course I'm a car because I work in a garage or something like that. That holds no water whatsoever. Proximity, if anything, oftentimes should say that you should not have said that racial slur. So just saying I'm related to someone, just because your aunts, uncles, brothers, cousins, neighbors, podiatrist or something like that was an Asian or a black or whatever, does not excuse you from making a racial slur when you're drunk or whatever. Bad excuse number 2, and this is one of my favorites. I can't be racist because I've dated an elf. This one has kind of some personal amusement for me because for whatever reason, in my personal life, a lot of times I date these girls that look like, I'm dating one now that looks like a Barbie. She looks like a Malibu Barbie. And it's always funny when they just look like they listen to Top 40 and they get in your car and you give them control of the radio like I always do, and suddenly this gangster rap starts coming out and they've got their words completely in sync. It's kind of like that scene in Office Space where the white guy is listening to gangster rap in traffic on the way to work, and he's like doing all the words, and then a black man walks past his window and he nervously closes the door and turns down the words, and that's kind of how it is. It's funny, you look on Google Maps and it looks like Malibu is here and Compton is over here, and it looks like there's a long distance between the two, but the distance from Malibu Barbie to Compton Barbie is one Pandora click away. It's hilarious. I think in culture everyone understands this. You can embrace a culture doesn't mean you're embraced by that culture. Just because you listen to rap doesn't mean you can call other black people the N-word. You're not in that culture just because you embrace the culture. So that is not an excuse. Just because you've dated one does not give you the excuse to say racial slurs. Bad excuse number 1. I can't be racist because I'm married to an elf. This also works for people who were married to an elf, and this also has huge precedence, and I'm going to give you a little insider reason why this excuse, though people think, oh, this totally proves I'm not a racist, actually it can be a cause to prove you are racist. Thomas Jefferson, one of the four founders of this country, is well known to have fathered several illegitimate children, but these illegitimate children were with black slaves. Now, just because Thomas Jefferson had black children doesn't mean in any way that he was for the equality of black people, because he wasn't. I mean, it was a different time, a different era, and he was a slave owner. So just because you married to or have relations with a certain ethnicity doesn't mean anything. In fact, often it exposes you to the underbelly of that culture and creates deeper racist attitudes. When you marry into an ethnicity, oftentimes before you're in that environment, everyone's very prim and proper and kind to you and polite. Asian culture is very like that. You know, they're very, very polite to people that are of a different ethnicity. Once you're in it, then you kind of see their real beliefs. And a lot of the beliefs are not pretty, as is true with almost all ethnicities. Koreans, for example, Koreans are very kind if you're not Korean, but once you get to know them, they can be very judgmental, especially towards other Asians. They don't like, for instance, people like me. Koreans hate me because, and people are shocked by that, but that's because I'm what they call a Twinkie or a banana. I'm yellow on the outside, but I'm completely white on the inside. I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, and actually I'm more of a brown banana because I'm always tan. I live in California. They hate people that don't embrace their culture and don't speak fluently. I don't. I just don't. A lot of that discrimination or prejudice comes out because now you know really people's views behind closed doors. If you've discriminated against someone and they've told you it's discriminatory, the worst thing you can do is say these excuses. They just don't work. So I'd like to share now 3 business principles that if you adopt these business principles, they can actually help you versus giving an excuse. Business principle number 1. If the shoe fits, don't just wear it, eat it. So what I mean by this is if someone says your comment was racist, even if you didn't mean it, just wear that shoe. Don't make excuses for yourself. Don't make excuses for a person. If you're dating someone or you're married to someone that has made a racial slur at a Christmas party or something like that, by all means, don't excuse bad behavior. That's like women saying, he never hits me, only when he's angry or only when he's stressed out. Well, that's not an excuse to ever beat a woman. You know, you hear these kind of excuses excusing all sorts of bad behavior, and the women that actually make those excuses are victims. They're victimizing themselves. And it makes people sad. So don't use them. So if anything, if the shoe fits, if someone calls you out for a racist comment, wear it and say, I'm so sorry, I did not mean to offend you. It was a racist comment, please forgive me. You know, that's something that goes a lot longer than a fake excuse. Think of this in a relationship. You know, how well does this work, guys, when you're talking to a girl and you say, oh, honey, I'm so sorry that you're offended by what I actually feel and mean. You know, how well does that work in relationships? Not really. That's a fake excuse. You're apologizing that they're offended, not apologizing that said something offensive. So own up to it. Man up and put up or shut up. So, you know, if the shoe fits, wear it, but also eat it. And what I mean by this is, you know, I watched a documentary of Abraham Lincoln. I was surprised that Abraham Lincoln said a lot of racist stuff. For most of his life, he was a moderate. He was not an abolitionist. And he spouted out very, very racist comments for which suited the pseudoscience or bad science of the day. And there came a point in Abraham Lincoln's career where he shifted, he grew, he became a different person, he grew out of his ignorant views. What he did was he ate his words. If you eat your words and just own up to bad attitudes or bad ignorant views and beliefs, it can actually change the way people look at you. Today, because Abraham Lincoln ate his words, none of us look at him as a racist. All of us look at him as a father of the civil rights movement, someone who furthered the cause, made the world a better place. And everyone looks at him that way. So do the same. If the shoe fits, don't just wear it, eat it.
And what can I get you for Christmas?
Don't tell him what you want. He's a liar.
Let the kid talk.
You disgust me. How can you live with yourself?
Just cool it, Zippy.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Look, I'm not kidding.
You're a fake.
I'm a fake?
Yes.
How'd you like to be dead? Huh? No, he's kidding.
You stink.
I think you're gonna have a good Christmas, all right?
You smell like beef and cheese. You don't smell like Santa.
Okay.
Business principle number 2, you promote what you tolerate. I feel bad for women who date or marry men who are chauvinists or who are racists. And when they make excuses, it's like by tolerating your husband's bad behavior, you're actually promoting racism. You know, by tolerating their bad behavior towards you, you're permeating misogyny. And so I always feel bad, you know, I'm actually a feminist. I'm just too educated not to be a feminist. I've had too many strong women in my life, business leaders and boss ladies that I respect. I've got a whole team of boss lady lawyers that are pit bulls. They are awesome. And I have business mentors that I deeply, deeply respect. Who are strong women, who are beautiful, elegant, yet at the same time command respect and authority. And I promote women. I work with a lot of models, and I promote that they don't just lean on their looks, but use their looks as a leverage. Use your looks now, might as well, you know, but don't lean just on that. You know, have something more to offer the world than just beauty. Women should stand up for themselves, and women should not stand for chauvinistic remarks, misogyny, like these gentlemen did at this party, and they definitely shouldn't back up racism. You promote what you tolerate. If you tolerate bad behavior, it's just like you said that thing or hold that belief yourself. If anything, take a stand. And you know, in making this video, you know, I was honestly upset. I was upset that these 3 guys ruined Katie's party and said such stupid things, but at the same time, I knew that if I made this video, I had to look inward. I had to look at myself and look at my own actions. Are there things, bad views, that I also promote by tolerating? And I had to say, actually, yes. You know, as an angel investor, I raise money for different projects, different startups, and some are a lot of capital. And most of them around the $2 million range. But one in particular is a $150 million legacy project in Maui that's going to help the citizens of Maui. It's huge. There's going to be a big return on that as well. And so I've gone to personal friends that have the capital to drop about $10–20 million on a project, and sometimes they have exposed some of their racist views, not towards Asians, but towards other ethnicities like Hispanics. You know, there's and I don't push politics on anybody, but I stay usually neutral. And I thought to myself, you know what? If I'm going to make a video like this, I've got to actually walk the talk. You know, not just put this video out there, but actually live by what I'm preaching. And so I've made actually a New Year's resolution, even if it hurts me financially. By not taking someone's money, someone who wants to invest in a project, has the capital to put down on a huge project like that, but they have exposed you know, racial views or racist beliefs towards another ethnicity, that I will make a conscious effort to just say no to that investor, even if I would really gain from that. So that's a stand that I think every business should take, and just be cognizant of the fact that if you tolerate anything, you're also promoting it. And so just like I wouldn't want to in any way promote racism in my own business and life, I've got to take a stand, and even if it hurts me financially, it's okay. There will be other investors. There will be other people who I do want to work with. And so that's a personal stand I am making. Business principle number 3, be the change you wish to see in the world. You know, everything that I do in life boils down to one thing. I do it for my kids. I have 2 beautiful Asian babies. I'm a single dad. And I live my life to make the world a better place for them. You know, I grew up with racism. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and I was the Asian population. There were no Asians in Detroit. And oftentimes I was the brunt of racial discrimination, or kids just being kids or showing their ignorant beliefs with their parents. I want to live in a world where my kids are never judged by their gender or the color of their skin. And I live my life that way. They deserve it. I've got the most wonderful kids ever. I don't deserve them. They're that wonderful. Really, it boils down to this. You've got to, in business, in your personal life, if someone has a racist view or belief, or they're chauvinistic, you've got to take a stand for that. You've got to also exemplify that in your own life. If you adopt these 3 principles, those are things that can actually help you. Everyone makes mistakes, and the best thing is to not make excuses for them, but to own up for it, take a stand, and who you were in the past doesn't determine who you are tomorrow. There was someone I deeply respect that I've read about named Corrie ten Boom, and she was a German Christian who would not give up her Jewish neighbors. In fact, her family of German Christians hid Jews in their home, and they were actually, because they were sympathizers, were sent to concentration camp, and she lost many of her family members to that concentration camp. You know, think about that. These same excuses were used to promote racism. Don't make excuses for bad behavior. Take ownership and just be a different person. Just because you were raised in a family with ignorant views doesn't mean that you have to permeate that. And so definitely, these are things that I think can make the world a better place if you take a stand. So that's all I have today. If you guys will leave some comments, I would love to hear from you. Have you been the brunt of any racial slurs or discrimination, either gender or the color of your skin? I'd love to hear about that. If you're a business owner that has been publicly embarrassed for something like that, what did you do about it? I'd love to hear from you. Anyhow, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned and subscribe. Next week, I think I'm going to be talking about how to save up for a startup. The New Year's is coming, and everyone wants to change their financial future. What are you doing today that will give you the time freedom to spend with the people you really love and cherish right now, instead of waiting until you're too old to enjoy it? Anyhow, that's all I have. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Is this an amazing, ugly Christmas sweater or what? I mean, how awesome is this? What's not to like? Look at this. This is my favorite part. It comes with its own Santa's Jolly Juice. See, he just carries that alcohol right there on his belt. This is the hat that I found. I got this hat because I got this sweater and hat actually because I was looking for an Asian Santa Claus sweater. That would be awesome. I know there's a black Santa sweater out there. I thought that would be awesome too, or a Jewish Santa. But I couldn't find an Asian Santa, so I thought, why not be an Asian Santa? And so when I found this, I'm like, perfect. I gotta admit, this is a little bit of a fib. It should say, I tried to be good Santa, I can explain, something like that. Anyhow, Merry Christmas, you guys. Those of you guys who want to keep celebrating with me into February.